Hi, and welcome back to NJ Video Geek. This week on episode 3, we have a special treat for you. As promised, we're going to have guest speakers, and this week I'd like to welcome Matt Perry from Digital Tech HQ. He's going to do a tutorial on Multicam using Adobe Premiere. So let's buckle up and get ready to edit.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out Digital Tech HQ, and today we're going to be doing a tutorial on multicam sequencing in Premiere. A buddy of mine asked if I could do this, MJ Video Geek. He uses Edius, and he wanted to see how Premiere handles multicam sequencing and the difference between the two. So if you want to check out some of his work, I'll leave a link in the description below, but let's jump right into it. Alright, so I have my project set up here, and I have all of my footage organized into their own bins. And there's two different ways that we could go about doing this. The first process seems to be a little bit more automated than the second process. The second process, you have to do a little bit more legwork, but I think that you have more control over your video and audio with the second process. But let's jump right into the first process. So let's make a new sequence just to keep everything nice and clean. And I'm going to use digital SLR 1080p at 30, and I'm just going to name it Ceremony 2. Okay, so we have a nice clean slate here, and I went ahead and I labeled all of my clips that were going to be in the ceremony beforehand. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find your clips that you want to make a multicam sequence with. And you're going to select your first one, and then you're going to scroll down, find your second one, and you're going to control click. If you're on Windows, control click, and then we have some external audio. The officiant had a mic, so we're going to control click again to keep everything selected, and we're going to find the next camera. Control click, and the last bit of audio, control click. So once all of your clips are selected, you're going to right click and come down to create multi-camera source sequence, and you're going to get this pop-up window that comes up. Right up here, I usually name the file whatever I'm working on. In this case, it's the ceremony. For the sync point, I use audio, and then the track channel I change to mix down. This little checkbox is usually clicked off, but I don't put any of my clips in a process bin, so I usually click that off. And then for the audio, I make sure I have all the audio from all the cameras. And then I usually use the clip names for the cameras. And then I click OK. So what's happening is Premiere is going through and synchronizing all the cameras together, and it's going to make a nested timeline for me, or a nested sequence for me that I could put in the timeline. And we'll just wait for this process to go through. I know NJ Video Geek uses a version of Edius that does not have multicam sequencing built in, so he uses a program called Pluralize from Red Giant. And that kind of shows you more of the process. You could see how everything is happening in the program. Here, Premiere kind of does it all in the background. But it's nice that it's all built in to Premiere, and you don't have to use separate programs or buy separate programs to make that work. So it's finishing up here. So now that Premiere finished up processing our clips, it added a nested sequence into our project window. And if you click on that and drag it into our timeline, you'll see I'll get this warning here. And that's only because our frame rates are different. That's alright, you could click on the button Keep Existing Settings and it will add it. And for this tutorial, I'm just going to select my audio, and I'm holding down Alt, and that lets me select just individual clips. If I didn't, it would select everything. So I don't want that. I just want to select my audio, and I made a hotkey to enable and disable clips. So I just disabled the audio so you can hear me talk. And if you come over here and scrub through, you can see our clips. But we only see one clip, and in order to see multi-camera, you're going to want to come over here to this plus button, and you're going to want to find the button that says Toggle Multi-Camera View. And it's the 4 little squares with the bigger square. And you could click and drag that into your toolbar if you use it all the time, like I do. So if you click on this, your program window will change, and now you have your main window here, and you have your different camera angles here. And if you hit the tilde button, the button right above tab while your mouse is hovering over the program window, you could go full screen. And I'm just going to change my preview resolution really quick, and I'm going to hit play. And you can see my different camera angles running. And as it's running, you could click on the different camera angles and it will make cuts in the timeline for you. Or you could just toggle through them right here while it's off and make the cuts yourself. I'm going to go back to our regular view. So, or you could hit the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 up top, and that will also toggle your cameras. Now I'm just hitting the buttons on the top of the keyboard 1, 2, and 3, and I'm toggling through them. And you could hit them while it's playing, and it will make those cuts as well down in the timeline. So if I hit play here and I hit the number 2, you could see it will change to 2, and then I could hit 1 and it will go back to the first cam. And when I hit stop, you could see down here, let me zoom into our timeline here, you could see that it has made 2 cuts, and that's our different camera angles. So if I turn this off to go full screen, you could see when I scrub through here, here's our first one, then it jumps to our second one and back to our first one, and those are the cuts that we made. So that is the first way on how to do multi-camera sequencing. Let me show you the second way, and I kind of have it already set up here. So all those clips that I marked, I just dragged into my timeline and made them my different cams, so cam 1, cam 2, cam 3, and then I would select camera 1, shift select camera 2, and I would sync. And then I would use the audio, change it to mix down, and I'd hit OK. So then when they finish syncing, I would put little markers down. If I hit M on the keyboard, I can mark them and set markers just in case any of them moved while I was syncing other clips. I could set them back. I know exactly where they are. So then I would select camera 1 and camera 3 and do the same thing. Right click, sync the audio, and then I would take the individual audios and sync them as well with camera 1. So what I usually do is I will select all of it and Control C to make a copy. Come over here and then you could paste it. And this is kind of like my way of, security. If anything goes wrong with the nested sequence, I always have my, base sequence set up here. And I will select everything, right click, and I will nest that sequence. And then I'm just going to call it Ceremony 2, since I already have it done. And what it does is it nested the sequence, left all of the audio alone, but we still only see one camera. And if we came over here and hit the multi-camera view, we still, again, only see the main camera here. And what you have to do is you have to right click on the nested sequence, come up to Multicam and enable. And now if you hit multi-camera view, you have all of your cameras here. And then you're able to do the exact same thing. You can scrub through, you can, select the different camera angles if you wanted to. Same thing, you could do 1, 2, and 3 on the number pad as you're going through, and it will make those cuts. Works exactly the same way. And I just like this way a little bit better. Just seems to be easier for me. That's how I do it. So if you guys have any requests for a different tutorial, please drop it in the comments. Thank you again for checking out Digital Tech HQ. And until next time, happy editing.